What about you as a man yourself? Are you a quiet, shy person? Because we see that side of you on stage, but we never really get an idea of what you are like as a person. Always reading about you in gossip columns recently, the story between you and Rod. You know, as you say, people will believe what they will, and hopefully they'll believe the truth. But what are you like as a person? Are you someone that cares a lot about different issues?
I think so, yes. It's one of the greatest things you have to use, that you get going for, is that if people think they know everything about you, that they do about me, and they think, oh yeah, we know about Elton John, but actually they don't know anything at all. Which is kind of useful to keep prolonging, because one wants people to know what you're like, but on the other hand, you don't. Your personal life is very important, and you keep it to yourself. Yes, I take issues very. I mean, having been involved in local council issues with my football club now, and now I know. I don't take things like that for granted anymore. I mean, when I first became chairman of the football club, for example, one thought that one could more or less get anything one wanted, and I soon found out that was going to be completely untrue, and go by the board. Yeah, I have a lot of different interests and a lot of different issues which I find important. But I don't really do interviews very much. I don't do any press interviews, hardly at all. You never see me do any press interviews. Because I really don't. I spend 2 or 3 hours with someone talking about something that I really, really believe in, and I think they've done a good job. And then when I see what the editor's done to it, and then it's all down to about sex life, hair transplant, and everything like that, and you think, oh, why bother? I'm 36, well, I might as well devote some of my time to doing something else. So yeah, I am. You wouldn't believe some of the things that I get up to. We won't even go into them.
You mentioned your age. Now, you've mentioned it twice now. Is that something that bothers you? I mean,
No,
I've
it's
just,
not at all.
I've just passed my 34th birthday, and I don't really care about age.
No, I don't. No, in fact, I enjoy it. When I'm in my 30s, I enjoyed my life much more than I had in my 20s. I mean, when I was 29, I was saying, oh, let's get to 30 and get it over and done with. But actually, when I became 30 and I had responsibility thrust on me in the form of the chairmanship of the football club, then I really began to enjoy my life. No, I keep going on about my age, but I mean, there are certain things in this life. I mean, I don't want to end up like Chuck Berry, sort of like picking up some rubbishy band and paying them peanuts and playing out a tune. That side of show business does not appeal to me. One has to know when to stop to a certain extent.
So you don't want to become, say, a Frank Sinatra or Charles Aznavour in 1990 or 2000?
Well, I don't know. At least Frank Sinatra, what he does is got some taste. I mean, Chuck Berry. I mean, God. Anyway, no, I don't want to go on about Chuck Berry. No, I will always be a performer because I think I enjoy performing. But in what ways? I mean, there is more to life than going round the world. I mean, I did that, so I gave up in '76 and came off the road for 2 years. It was just because I couldn't stand that sort of lifestyle anymore. And luckily, I had something to bounce into with the football club. But no, they're getting to a point where it's not any fun anymore. It's becoming routine. I think there are other things to do. If I don't take a chance soon and start doing some instrumental albums and some other things like that. But while I'm in my late 30s and 30s, I might as well just enjoy it while I can, because I really am enjoying the company of everybody around me. It seems that everybody around me in my band and my setup, we've known each other for at least 15, 16 years, and we like each other still, which is quite an achievement in this business, because it's not the nicest business to be.
In the past few years, you've been to many countries, including Russia, and this summer you went to China with Watford's football team. What was that trip about? Was it just a musical trip, or was it strictly football?
It was absolutely strictly football. There was nothing musical in it whatsoever. It was very, very protocol, lots of speeches, and very enjoyable. Musically, China is no way anywhere near Russia as far as accepting bands like The Who or whatever. I mean, when I last went to Russia, with Ray Cooper on that tour, we'd more or less set up the way for people through Harvey Goldsmith for people like The Who to go over there and things like that. And of course, then they have invaded Afghanistan and put the kibosh on it. But they do want those sort of things out in Russia. And until I refuse to be a political tool in the fact that I won't be told where and where I can go. Now, the United Nations say I can't go to South Africa. And until I go there and have a look, I just been there and I played in Sun City, and I made sure I went down there when Rod Stewart was down there so that people can buy tickets, and it's a completely mixed audience, fine. And George Benson just been out there before me, because sometimes anyway for a musician to improve things is to go down there and play and see for themselves. I find it incredibly hypocritical. The United Nations can tell me that I shouldn't go and play in South Africa, where I can go to America and play in front of, and they have the Ku Klux Klan and they have the National Front over here. So as a musician, I make up my own mind where I want to go, and I want to go to as many places as possible. Next year on tour in Europe, we're going to Poland, Czechoslovakia and Hungary, I hope, as well.
Did you make the trip to Sun City in South Africa because you wanted to make a statement about apartheid, or was it simply that you were invited by a foreign country and you felt, well, I'd like to go?
They'd been asked me to go for that 2 years, actually. And so when I went to see Rod down there and had a look for it, I wasn't going to take a chance and just say willy-nilly, I'm going to go out there. And then I didn't see anything particularly wrong in playing in Sun City. I'm not judging a country's politics in total, and I wouldn't in any countries. It's none of my business to judge a country's politics. But as a musician, I'm not going to be told by the United Nations where I can and where I don't go, because I don't think. I think they've got a nerve, and B, I just think that there's so much good can become. I want to go back to Russia as soon as possible, and they shut down the bloody airliner this year. It's not the people in the street. It's the people in the street you want to go and play to. And that's the last thing when I went to Russia, the last thing I remember when we left Leningrad on the train, it was the kids stuffing all the presents through and saying, please come back to see us, please come back and see us. And I thought, yeah, one day I must come back and see you. And I don't care if they got salt mines or Siberian prisoner of war camps or whatever. If I'm going over there, if I want to go over there and I make the decision, I'm going, and nobody's going to stop me. And I get increasingly annoyed, especially when America sits on its high horse and says, well, you can't do this and you can't do that, when that has, it can at the moment, with the moral majority and things like that, it's one of the most non-attractive countries, I would think, to go and visit.